All right, all right. It's Tuesday. It's Valentine's Day. Um, I'm on page. What is this? I should probably check. Hang on. 21. 21. I feel like I'm just getting started. Okay, wait. With this story, anyhow. That should be pure black. As usual, I'm not going to get very far on this today, I don't think. Although, I got pretty far. I got further than I thought I would on the last two pages. Pretty quickly. Oh wait, this one, these aren't completely straight panels. Since it's a battle, I feel like it's okay to do the panels off of 90 degrees, like you're um, slightly off. Different ways to do it, of course. The panel borders. Panel borders can also signify certain things. Like you might use a different kind of panel border if you're doing a flashback sequence, for example. But in most cases, you want to stick to the normie panel board. You don't want to make the audience have to think about what you're trying to get across. You want it to be automatic. You want it to be telepathic, right? That you've so unless you want to stop the audience and make them think about why you're doing it, unless you have a specific reason, you want to stick to very tried and true normie methods, um, because what you're setting up is sort of like a telepathic connection. You draw attention only to the things that you want them to pay attention to. And then for everything else, you just make it as predictable as possible so it doesn't get in the way. All right. I've done my panel borders. It's only 3. So I take back a little bit of what I said about Dragon Ball Z. I got to the end of like not chapter 6, volume 6. Each one of these volumes is like 200 and something pages. And there's multiple chapters, about 12 pages each in each chapter, multiple chapters in each volume. So they finally defeated Vegeta, and several characters are dead. There's only like a couple of survivors. And now they're going to go off and find the Dragon Balls because they think they can bring their friends back to life. That's what the deal is. All right. Oh, and there's a character that I've never seen in the cartoons, Yajirobe, who actually has like this important role to play with his sword. He's kind of like a fat swordsman. I really liked him. All right. As always, start up in the foreground, not the midground. I'm looking at this and I'm not liking it. Okay, so this is definitely not the right. There it is. What's going on these panels? Well, in this very first panel, this is where it all kind of goes wrong. The one card guard is immediately killed, and then Brillig and the other card guard are sort of yelling at each other. Brillig's yelling at him to attack, and the card guard's only a 2, so he's not the most powerful card. I don't know why I thought that would be a funny detail. He's only a 2. All right, let's see if I can get this thumb right. He's a cartoon character, so you don't have to get it photorealistically right. But you want it to look as if all the pieces operate in a logical way, as if it were a real thumb. All right, nice. He's holding a spear. We want to make sure that we see the spear. There's the spear. I think this pencil line is wildly off. One of the things I like about the heart shapes that are recurring all over this is that the heart shapes have this awesome, um, this bisecting line here, which means that you can take one half of it and shade it, and you get a nice sense of three-dimensionality in the part. I can't do that on the head. The back of the heads I've established as black. There it is. I better be on the right layer. I am. Okay. And then everything else, shading and detail. So there's shade here. There's shade underneath this shoulder guard. And on this side. This is detail, these sort of segmented pieces. And then this is detail, the pattern on the card. This is detail, and then this is detail. All right, let's pull it off and just see how far we got. That's looking good. All right, let's take a look. Thing in the end. There's going to be oh, this is that bisecting line where you can see the shade. There's a tricky part, and you can see this too late for me line. It's going to cover up. I couldn't figure out anywhere else to put it. I think it's not even an important line, really. Could be that I move it somewhere else. Maybe I'll put it in this area right here. But, all right, going in order. When I say in order, it's like from front to back. So we got to go to the frontmost element towards the back. Okay. double check on the eyes because I'm not sure I've got them perfectly right. And by perfectly right, I just mean positioned. I mean, I've got them equidistantly positioned here, but I want to make sure that this distance, right? Like it, I mean, and the way to do it is you either make the eyes smaller or you push them further apart. I think we have to make them smaller. Um, there's going to be a lot of feather detailing in this one because the monster is even closer at this point. So we can really show some detail. The monster has grasped with his forelegs, I don't know if you can tell, the other card and is tearing into him. And he's saying, "Too late for me. It's too late for me." I want to make sure it doesn't exactly have a thumb, but like the grasping opposed phalange here. Or what do you call that? It's part of a claw. You have to work all this stuff out. Okay. Let's take a look at the pencils. Oh, I was thinking I got them wrong. How about this one? So last night I was drawing the Herculoids and I tried to do them in color and I screwed it up. I'll show you my Herculoids. Like parts of it are good, but it's really bad. All right, so here's my Herculoids. Colored pencil is definitely not my medium. I think if I had stuck to just doing this in purple, I mean rather just doing this in black, I would have gotten a lot farther. And I think next time I'm going to redraw this, my Herculoids picture, just doing black. I could probably watercolor it, but if I watercolored, I'd probably do it in just mono. Just do it in one color. Okay, there's my bisecting line on the front. He's dying. There we go. Make sure I'm showing the shape of the bird, the jub. He's tearing in with bite and claws. Claw, bite. 1d8, 1d8, 1d12. If you know what that is, you're a real G. Claw, bite. It's not like a splatter because it's not in action. It's just, it is what it is. Card. Number is always on the left shoulder guard. It's on the front and the back. I wanted to put that line in there. I didn't even use this flaming breath against these guys. Maybe we'll do that on the next page. Let's take a look. It's going to be a very complicated panel, so I got to make sure that it's as clear as possible once it's rendered, that the reader kind of understands what's going on. Because right now it's a little confusing. Here, let's put the rest of his. There we go. Okay. It's a detail line. Okay. The light's coming this way, then the shadow is that way. We might even have shadow here. Like that, maybe? Well, then why did I do... See, this is why I gotta think these things through. There we go. And then he's causing shadows too. Should be shadow under the beak. Alright, looking cool. Yeah, I want to draw the Herculoids again, but this time just using ink. And then I also wanted to do, I had thought about doing Johnny Quest, and you can do the whole gang. Johnny Quest, Bandit, Race Bannon, Dr. Quest. But my problem is I gotta just do them in ink. This thing you have to sort of accept. So my coloring prowess, it's not just um, rubbing colored pencils on paper. There's a lot you gotta sort of take into account when you're working with color to make it look good, in my opinion. Colored pencils are very hard to work with. There's a really cool technique that I saw Kirsty Partridge, see her on YouTube, where she does highlighter and then um, colored pencil over the highlighter. And you only have like 4 colors of highlighters: a yellow highlighter, a pink highlighter, an orange highlighter, a blue highlighter. Um, but she uses that because, like, when you're coloring, no matter what kind of paper you've got, it's going to leave some white space. Otherwise, you have to put layers and layers and layers of this colored pencil down. It's very laborious. But if you highlighter it first, you've dyed the paper. And I thought maybe I could try something like that, but with my Inktense sticks. Because that's what they do. They dye the paper. And there probably is a way to do it. I'm just not good enough to do it yet. Because I try to paint with my Inktense sticks and I get some kind of very rough looking result. It isn't what I wanted. It's like, this doesn't look great. Alright, let's take a look. Brillig is going to be up here in this corner. Coming in. Right, we're in somewhere. Alright. Picture there. There's actually supposed to be a heart here, but he's literally been stabbed through the heart with the bird's beak. I'm going to put some action lines here. Stab. But we'll leave that for later. I think the way I did this leg is I just did it in black. But in the end, I think I might end up doing... it'll still be black, but like mostly black. There's the chicken wing. The drumstick. Might be black. Like maybe by the time I get down to the bottom. I don't know. I mean, it's got to be in shadow somehow. And you don't see the other leg. We've got one foreleg, second foreleg, first back leg. The other back leg is behind the figure. And then we have this sort of quail drop looking thing. There's a couple of them. And it's got its wings out. So you can't see the full thing. I don't like those lines because they're going inside the panel. Maybe something like that. Um, all right. Let's take a look at what we can pull off. First of all, I want this leg that's mostly in shadow. Something like that, maybe. Peter. Okay. Troublemaker. There we go. I'm wondering if the eye should really be like down there. Okay, just a notional line. Let's just do another layer. Notional line. Is that the center line? And if so, where does the eye go? Oh wait, can't. Gotta get on the other layer. If that's the center line, It's probably like way out here. From there to there, from there to, and then even distorting a little bit. Something like that, maybe. And then we can just sort of get rid of that line. But that looks off. There's something that looks off about that. Maybe it's the beak that needs to be moved. I don't think I can move the beak. I mean, I can warp it a little bit. I can do that. So I can something like that, and then I can just fix the line. And sort of ostrich legs that he's got. Oh, I'm going to be doing texturing him for a while to get it right. And I may never get it right. It's just one of those things. Okay. That looks a little bit better. Let's put our reference back in. Reference. Canvas. Reference. Look, everybody, we're using reference. We're slavishly copying from a photograph. Actually, no, we're not. We are not slavishly copying from a photograph. That's not what we do, people. That's not what we do. Okay. All right. Where is it? No, it's not this one. I want to do another. Where's my reference? Import. I think the one I want. I mean, could it be this one? What? Oh, yeah, I guess it is. All right. Yes, I've had to create models and assemble them and then photograph it. Teaching people all the wrong skills. All right, so the beetling brow. Same thing here. I wonder if I think we get more out of the beak if we push it further up. I think we definitely do. This sort of this bony structure at the top. And just like the heart, it has this sort of bisecting angle. It'll help you figure out the texture on one side. It's not gonna be perfect. One thing, if you're not getting it exactly right, sometimes it's good to just let it go. Get to the next panel. The reader will understand because they're gonna spend seconds looking at it. Literal seconds. And then they'll just move on. So the number one thing a drawing has to be is really clear. Are we double lighting this? I don't know. All right. Now, if we put in the feathery texture, these big white areas, these big negative space areas, I think we'll have a pretty good effect. I kind of want to put in an action line here, like that, but I know it'll mess it up, so maybe if I put it like that, something like that. That'll work. I put it on its own layer, so if I have to, I can just, erase it, but let's leave it on there for right now. Get back to the ink layer. Let's get to the Brillig figure, which is the other figure off to the right. Cartoon language. Alcap. Alcap rules. I don't care what anybody says. Alcap is the best. Without Alcap, we wouldn't have Frank Frazetta. That was one of his art assistants. But I think what's important for Alcap for me is I don't think we'd also have CC Beck and Shazam without Alcap. Heck, we would almost not have Superman if not for Tarzan. That was um, Jerry Siegel's very first comic that he did, like for the school newspaper, was a Tarzan parody. It was kind of like a George of the Jungle kind of thing with a comedic take on Tarzan. One thing I think Al Cap really understood is that, you know, people wanted to be entertained by comics. And I'm not saying he's the first. Actually, I don't know who would be the first to sort of incorporate the mix of clearly cartooned characters alongside the more realistic characters. I think that is an important, I guess to a degree we would definitely say Winsor McCay. Yeah, probably Winsor McCay. I don't know. Something seems different about the way Al Cap would do it, though. All right, you notice we're going with a thinner line here. That's to show that Brillig is further back from the action. He got initially kind of missed by the charge of the Jub Jub back on the other page. See, he's over here. He's kind of off to the right. He's here. If you're looking at him, he's to the left, but when you see it from behind, he's to the right. And then once the Jub Jub kind of barrels in, he grabs one of the guards and is eating him or killing him. And then Brillig moves around behind. He jumps on him and lands on his back. And then the Jub Jub immediately notices him. And then there's going to be um, a thing where he gets thrown. And either thrown at a wall or thrown at a rock or something. He's going to get knocked out, I think, is what where I'm going with this. And the Jub Jub gets away. Or gets away, I don't know. The, the Jub Jub continues on unmolested. He just continues on. Um, but when really gets knocked out, he transforms back to human. So we'll see him back in his human form again. I think people have an easier time connecting to the characters when they're human. And although I've made this point before, I only really loved Hulk when Hulk was in the Hulk form. It's Bruce Banner. Okay, yeah, I commiserate, but it was like you're waiting for him to transform. But I guess if he's there full time, you're like, well, maybe that's less exciting. I don't know. Don't like the way these turned out. Let's fix that. So you're constantly looking for this sort of balance of character and story, and you want to delight the with the art. The art has to be like fun to look at. If we can just black that out, it might be better. This story in its entirety will definitely be in, I think I've mentioned this before, if you're a first time listener, will be in the 9-Volt Adventure Awaits anthology. You will get however long, this is page 20, and I think we're about most of the way through. And then there will also be a Tarzan story that I'm working on, and several other stories other people are working on. Reasonably priced. We actually do these at not for profit. They're done at cost. And the reason is it's very hard to pay people when you have 9 creators and they're all turning in different lengths of works. And some people are better than others. And then you got a guy that's going to do the cover or wants to do the cover, right? And it might even involve a separate colorist. Um, it isn't really commercially viable. It's commercially viable when you sell your own thing by yourself. That makes sense. It's really easy to do. Like I could take this. By the time this is done, it'll be over 24 pages. I could sell it as a comic, no problem, and I probably will. But it'll be its own thing, and then there will be no question who created it. Who gets the credit? Me, right? But when you're talking about the anthology, it's such a group effort that you put it all in there, and it includes a copyright notice that says each individual creator retains their full rights, and then they can republish if they want. And that's how we do it. If you're confused about why that's a good idea, um, I can only just explain to you that if it weren't for the anthology, a lot of comics wouldn't get made. Like, people just wouldn't be motivated to do it. They're just not motivated to do it for themselves, but they can get motivated for a group project. That's one thing. The other thing is it's fun. It's fun to kind of put it out together. It is a lot of fun. But to take a fun thing and to make it into a commercial product, I think that ruins it. I think it invites bad feelings. You'll see it. I've seen so many of these other anthologies. They do like 2 issues and collapse, or they do just 1 issue and collapse, and people just hate each other. It happens all the time. Um, there's resentment for whatever reason. It didn't go like they wanted it to. They don't like people in charge, etc. We'd make so much more money if we did it my way, etc., etc. They don't make money. None of this stuff makes money. Nobody cares. That's the thing about indie comics. Nobody gives a shit. It goes to friends and family. Your friend will buy it to support you. Your family member might buy it to support you. And then they have the other comics that are in there. And you go, okay, it's cool. That's fine. Let's do like I like to put a chop in the card. Now, what makes all the big difference is once you start to get good. And how do you get good? Well, you got to make comics to get good. To get good at comics, you got to make comics. And how are you gonna make comics if you aren't good in the first place? Well, you could make them for things like anthologies. Once again, gonna be a lot more fun than working in a void. And still, some people don't get it. Some people at the sort of the lowest end of the skill spectrum don't seem to get that. And there's not much else you can say about that. They're fooling themselves um, if they don't see where they have to put the work in. Like, and it's a lot of work. You got to take classes. If you're not taking classes, you got to be Johnny on the spot with the School of YouTube, University of YouTube. A lot of these people are underemployed or perpetually unemployed. Some of them don't even have driver's licenses. Takes all kinds, man. That's just how it is in the indie comics world, you know. I made that point before about Chris Chan, the the weirdo with the Sonic Chew weirdo who's been in the news as of last year for something I won't go into. Um, he's a pretty typical example, you know. And he actually has a driver's license and several published works. And a lot of these people aren't even at Chris Chan's level. Chris Chan, the biggest effing lolcow on the internet. What are they trying to accomplish? What about go work at Taco Bell, get a full time job. Jesus Christ, be like a night manager at the Stop and Go or something, and you'll still do better. Develop your skills. People just don't like to do that. People don't like to think about stuff like that. You got to get an adult job at some point. And set some adult goals. And it may not be art. Art may not be the thing. What is art? Right? That's art. You end up going to art school. I didn't go to art school. I'm a research scientist, but there are a lot of people I know that went to art school and they hated it. I went to Micah, um, my pal Greg Follander, who is an incredible artist. Go to Instagram and look up this guy, Greg Ojira. Greg Ojira, right? You'll see some amazing art. He's been published in like Heavy Metal magazine, and he has a degree in art and a graduate degree in art. Um, I have amazing. This guy is incredible. Great comic book creator, although he doesn't do it anymore. Um, for the longest time, you know what Greg's job was? He was a lifeguard at a pool well into his adult years. At some point, you got to get serious, and say, okay, look, I love art, but I also want to be an adult. And you can do both. You can do both. Just don't fool yourself. Just don't fool yourself. The Dunning Kruger twins over there. You don't want to fool yourself. All right. I don't like this thick outline here. I want there to be some space between the tip of that spear and this guy. The other thing we want to show is we're looking at this scene from above, kinda, so we need to have grass on the ground. It may be that if we're being completely um, realistic, we might even have shadows on the ground, but the shadow will just confuse things more. The grass texture is probably enough. Right? See how it seems like there isn't much to this grass, but our eye is like, okay, yeah, I get it. I see that that's what's happening. All right. He should have his belt. And he's got like a loincloth. By the way, when he transforms back, he's going to have that dagger. I think he needs a weapon in order to defeat this creature because um, I'm looking at the pencils here. He gets onto the back and he's like, now what do I do? And that's when he's going to get thrown. So he's going to need that weapon. And so when he transforms back, he's going to have that demon forged dagger that he got way in the early part of the comic when he killed the Momrath. And my only other option is for him to grab one of these spears. You've got the spear. That's what he yells. So let's give it a shot. Layer 8. We're going to call this Holmes. Well, it's spelled wrong. Layer 9 balloons. Delete. My balloon. I don't know if you guys follow Stevie Weeby. His dad was apparently kind of an abusive guy. But when he died, this is Bobby Lee and Stevie Weeby's dad. You know, Stevie Weeby liked to do like these little rap songs. And he did a song called My Balloon. And it's got to be the most touching tribute to this band that I've ever heard. My balloon, let me fly high to the moon. Um, he had a talent, that guy. Attack, attack. All right. All right. If we're on, yes, we were. Okay. If we're on the correct layer, everything is fine. If we're not on the correct layer, things are bad. All right. You attack. I don't like the shape of that balloon. Getting your balloon shapes is a pain in the booty. You have to warp them into space a little bit. There we go. Maybe that's a little bit better. A lot of people they just use like the built-in ovals that are in um, CSP or whatever. Those look like shit. They don't look normal. They don't look like a human made them. Um, I don't like this because it's. I don't want to put this super long tail on this balloon. I think the audience would understand that it's coming from this guy. You attack. You got the spear. All right, so let's. And then it's too late for me. Oh, so the way to do this one, we're gonna have to take the pencils out for a second and take the inky do. Reduce the. How do we take too late for me? Right here? Here? Here. I don't want to mess with. Here? Here? Eric Weathers, who does most of the seemingly does most of the lettering for all of the big time Comicsgate projects. And he also has his own comic, Battle Brick Road. Had a little guide that he put out. I saw it on Twitter one time, and he says there's always a solution. There's always a way to do it. You just have to figure out where it is. I could go down a size on the typeface. This might be the way to do it. Okay, let's go down one size. I like to keep everything completely um, uniform. These are all 14s. This is all 14. This is now a 13. Let's make it a 12. Still readable. Let's get to the balloons. Get to the balloon. The chopper. It makes sense that it would be a bit smaller too, because he's dying. Alright, so let's bring back opacity on Enkidu. Could we have almost a panel? We have almost a panel on Enkidu. Gasinky ink. Alright, everything's good. Bring back his neck. What's going on here? Oh, I know what's going on here. First of all, that's a belt buckle. And that means that's a loincloth or something. I think I made his, like, the back of his neck too much. Alright. Well, I got more than I thought I would get done today. Usually I end up just like, um, inking one element, let alone a whole panel. And I will continue to do so. Let's see if I can get that in there. Yeah. Alright, it's happening. Alright. Please like, follow, and subscribe. Try not to be offended by my opinions. They're just opinions. In the end, great to see more comics getting done. Be nice if people weren't such babies or people more adults attempting to make comics. Oof. There we go. Yeah, like, follow, subscribe, and we will have this done before too long. Maybe I'll draw some Herculoids. Or even Space Ghost. Well, Johnny Quest, maybe. What all of those Hanna-Barbera shows have in common is Alex Toth is the designer. Every one of those shows plus Scooby-Doo. There we go. Yeah, I think that works, man. Hot chocolate right there, baby. All right. Stay tuned. We will have more. And more of my uncomfortable opinions. coming up. Talk to you later.